Today's episode is going to be fantastic, but I just wanted to let you know really quickly why I do this. I tell everyone this. The reason I started this podcast is because I've been abroad, but also I just look at social media, and I'm not upset about social media at all. A lot of people are, but I look at it and it's like it's not cold interactions, but they're kind of cold interactions. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take my social media to a different place. I want all the people that I know, that I've connected to, that have chosen to stay connected to me as well on social media, to have a voice. And I see them doing amazing things. And so I want to do more than a thumbs up. I want to support in a way I can support, you know? And so having a conversation does two things for me. One, it helps me get more information about where the person currently is, but it also shows them that I'm genuinely interested. And I'm more than a social media friend. Like, I want to be a real friend. We might not talk all the time, but, I want to have a way to put your stuff out there as well, more than me just sharing a post. Today on Voices, Youth Mentorship. How to mold the future one youthful mind at a time. And contributing today is LaDonte Lee. He's a seasoned mentor of youth, and he's going to tell us some of his experiences and give us some recommendations on how to continue mentorship. Let's go. And today on the podcast, Voices, I have LaDonte Lee. He's been a mentor in North Carolina for quite some time now. He's really good at it. I've seen some fantastic stories come from him. And the topic for today is how to mold the future one youthful mind at a time. And I think there's no better person to talk about this subject than LaDonte. And so, LaDonte, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you so much, man.
Hey, Lou, man, thank you for reaching out, man, and contacting me, man. And dude, I appreciate you and all the work that you're doing down in Colombia, South America, man. For everyone, my name's LaDonte Lee, and people call me Dante. I'm a husband and a father of one little young boy, 3 years old, Landon, and my wife, LaToya. As a servant leader, I believe that that's my calling in life, man. It has helped with me navigating the spaces that I've operated in here in the city, whether that be in the nonprofit space with several nonprofits that I've had the opportunity to serve in, my current role as the high school initiatives program manager with the YMCA of Greater Charlotte, to the director of programming with the Mentoring Our Brothers piece, man. This idea of just putting the needs of others in the community ahead of myself, and then working for that greater good for all. And yeah, man, other than that, man, just a guy who loves to go to the gym, work out, run, spend time with family and friends, and, have a good time, man. Just enjoy life and all that life has to offer, man. So that's me in a nutshell.
And it just that information shows how well-rounded you are, and it shows this sort of an open-mindedness as well as you having sort of a pretty good foundation. It's interesting. We met years ago in university in North Carolina, and it was in a history class. We took a couple of history classes together, but it was interesting. It was interesting because we were just sort of studying history. We were where I was on sort of an education track. And it's interesting because this sort of looking at your trajectory, because I know you have your master's degree and all that. You have come full circle where you've been able to sort of get your mind in so many different places to be helpful to so many people because sort of that balance you've had in life. And so you mentioned the YMCA. When I was in college, I worked at the YMCA and after school services, and I did some like youth programs too.
Yeah.
But it to you, tell me what it's been like to sort of grow in the YMCA, because I was there and I understood their mission. I thought it was beautiful, but you've gone to the next level with that.
Yeah, man. The Y is a great organization, man. It's an international movement, and there are 19 branches here in the Charlotte region, man. But I didn't get my start with YMCA. I started with a small nonprofit a guy by the name of Frank Crawford, man. He's a legend here in the city. But Youth Homes was an organization with the vision of building promising futures for children. And it was basically, it was a foster care program. And that's where I gained my start. I worked there for like 2-3 years. 09, 08, 09, the big recession happened, man. That program was, it was not bought out, but it merged with a larger nonprofit called Children's Home Society, which many nonprofits were doing at the time just because of the economic crisis. And I stayed with them another 2 years, man. And unfortunately, the program that I was serving in, it was providing temporary out-of-home placement for young men involved with the juvenile justice system, support along with their families. But I transitioned from that to an organization called Community Schools, which I served there for like 7 years. And then that's when the transition from Community Schools to the YMCA of Greater Charlotte. So my current position, man, has definitely broadened my net, so to speak, man, in serving teenagers, man. We serve teens from all the high schools, all the charter schools, man. We have a large footprint, man, on all the teen program that we do. Y Achievers, Level Up, Youth in Government, and sports, man. So I love it, man. I love being able to be on the the thinking of the strategy level, but still being able to have that personal touch with kids when I'm able to visit the branches, but also strategizing for more impact and deeper dive issues, man, on how we can improve Charlotte, man. I'm not sure. Are you aware of that, the economic task report of Charlotte being 50 out of 50 largest cities in upward mobility?
I didn't know about the specific number, but I saw an article not too long ago that mentioned upward mobility in Charlotte was basically hindered because, well, first of all, there's a lot of transplants in Charlotte because of the banking industry. But the second reason is sort of the local universities don't necessarily cater to sort of cater as feeders for those industries in the city. So a lot of the people come from outside. So I can see that, but that's pretty an amazing
sense, man. Makes sense. So what we do every day, man, that's what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to overcome those barriers that have been placed systemically, generational, from generations, man, to help teens, overcome those and position themselves for whatever industry they believe will be the best fit for them. And, definitely love the 3 pillars of the YMCA, man. Youth development, that's first and foremost what the YMCA was founded on. In fact, the Y celebrate 175 years. So we have a delegation from Charlotte who's over there, as well as folks from all across the globe, man, in London. So youth development, healthy living, man. The gym is just not a gym and swim, man, but there's so much other programming that goes on at every Y, man, from the little babies to folks who are retired, man. It's something for everybody. And then social responsibility piece is this idea that we have a responsibility to address issues that we see in our communities. So, man, I love that about the YMCA, man, and it's all drawn from like the Christian mission that the Y is for all, man, regardless of your race, color, gender, sexual orientation, man. It's for everyone.
And you mentioned something just sort of given sort of your background that you actually embodied those 3 pillars before you even stepped foot in there. And I think that's really cool because you mentioned something, and I was a teacher in the States, and you mentioned communities and schools. Now, I worked in the system that had communities and schools. I didn't work with you directly, but how do you think the communities in school program, or at least the time when you were in it, supported teachers, because the support that that program offered was absolutely monumental for success of the students.
Absolutely, man. Great organization, communities and schools. The idea of surrounding community support around each student to help them know to empower them and to achieve in life, man, is definitely impactful, man. And you know, I started with them at West Charlotte High School, West Charlotte High, 2011 to 2013, and just having the ability to come alongside not only the students, teachers, staff, administration, but also that support for teachers, man. You know, I was able to have great friendships with many of the teachers, and I'm still in contact with them today, man. And I'm just doing whatever we could do as a collaborative to help a student who may, for us coming together as a collaborative to, you know, help students, man, whether it was a student who was in need of school supplies, or whether it was a student who was in need of housing. We could rally together, meet with social workers, or the administration, let them know what's going on and create a plan of action to help that kid in order to stay in school, man, as opposed to, you know, run to the streets or just give up on themselves. So
Yeah.
great collaboration, partnership with communities and schools in the CMS system.
I know there's sort of a guideline, or they have some things that have identifiers for at-risk youth. What are some of the at-risk youth identifiers that you've noticed are sort of the most important ones that need to be addressed sooner rather than later?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I remember identifying students but there's some key ones, like a lot of like the home situation, whether if there's a lower socioeconomic, if a parent is a single parent, if there are multiple siblings in the home, if there is the amount of education that a parent has received, the fact of whether a student receives free or reduced lunch, and then the test scores that you're definitely aware of, you know, the reading and math, especially like the third grade reading scores. You can tell a whole lot about that, as well as when kids would transition from 8th to 9th grade. I would always like to get I would like to view their test scores and see, you know, were they performing above or below, and kind of find out where they were at. And then also, man, I think it's important is, you know, that peer association. It's a guy named Dr. Wanja Gajufu. He says the number one influence on young men of color, specifically African-American boys, is their peers, whom they associate themselves with, man. So I've saw it in living color, man. It's like young folks who associate themselves with a certain crowd, they tend to behave for the 90% of the time the way that the crowd operates. Who had the potential to achieve in school and make the grades, they find themselves in a group who skip school, skip class, smoke, and whatever. 9 out of 10 times that young guy found themselves doing the same things, if not worse, as his peer association. So friendships are key, man. So yeah, the home life, peer association, man, and test scoring. I believe those are some risk factors that you can kind of examine and see, you know, what some of the barriers those kids may be facing, or may be facing approaching their teen years.
And, you know, there's an interesting, I don't know if you would call it a myth or not, but I've seen the story circulated a number of times as a teacher and before I became a teacher, or while I taught, was that they would use third grade test scores to determine the number of prisons they needed to build, the number of beds they needed. And as sad as that could be, it's also eye-opening because they're saying there's a specific indicator on that. So I actually want to shift a little bit
Okay.
because I know you've done some work where you've helped sort of reach out to youth who have been in the correction system. But I want to actually ask you on the direction of you getting to where you are.
Okay.
Why did you become a mentor?
Man, great question. Why did I become a mentor? Man, it was like you said earlier, you were going on the educational path, and then I was thinking the same thing, but then I began to mentor. And I remember my first mentee was named Courtney, and he was in middle school at Albemarle Road Middle School, man. And just the difference that I made in the short time, I believe we had a mentee-mentor relationship for like 6 months. And I remember it was towards the end of the school year. So it was maybe like January to the end of school in June. And I remember his mom saying the difference that his behavior was kind of aligning at home, which when I would visit him at school, the teachers would say the same thing. And then, just that the time that we would spend on one-on-ones, getting a slice of pizza, going to Independence Park and shooting some hoops, or just, riding in the car, listening to music. I believe those were like just key moments that perhaps changed that young man's trajectory. I'm not sure where he's at now or what he's doing, man, but I'm so hopeful that the seeds that were planted, the time that we spent, have been watered or nurtured somehow with someone else, and that I just played a small part in that young man's journey. My ramp into working with adjudicated youth came when I got an internship under who was the governor at the time? I think it was Easley, I believe, as a youth.
McCrory? Oh, okay.
Easley, no, not McCord. Mike Easley. This was back in 07, man. So I think it was Mike Easley.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
earned an internship through the state, working at the Stonewall Jackson Youth Development Center, and that 6 to 8 month internship, man, just really was the beginning of what I'm doing, man. Like just working with kids in that small ratio. It was called the Jackson Project, which was a piloted program. Dr. Steinberg was over the program, but it was just an opportunity to work really intentional and focused on young men. And, whether it was with academics, whether it was with social emotional learning, or whether it was just playing ping pong, man, it was just those interactions with those young men that allowed them to begin to open up to myself and other adults. But the big thing working with adjudicate youth, man, they're very mistrustful people. So you really have to be authentic and genuine and gain their trust. It's not going to happen instantaneously or overnight, but it's like one of those things. It's a process. But once you gain their trust, man, it's like they'll confide in you for every and anything, man. And it was my job as a youth counselor just to help point them in the direction that they felt would be best for their journey, man. And I was simply just a support and to undergird them, man, in that. And the crazy thing with working with those young men in 07, I see those young men, some who are out and doing well today, man. They recognize me in the public space, man. Like, it's crazy. Young little guy his name was Vance. And I remember him, like, because he was very charismatic. We would play basketball in the old gym. Stonewall Jackson is an old, creepy looking place if you've ever been out there in Concord. But I was out at Walmart, man, and he saw me, and I was like, dude, I recognize you. He's like, you know who I am, Mr. Lee? I'm Vance. And I was like, man, that's right. Dapped him up, gave him a half hug. And then from that point, we exchanged numbers, and I would see him like at North Lake Mall, or I might see him downtown walking. But it's just wonderful to see young people you work with throughout the years, man, just doing well and taking care of themselves, and if they have children, their responsibilities, man. So I just feel like whatever season I'm in, or in a person's life, I just want to make the most impact during that season, and hopefully it will help them along the way.
That's beautiful. And so with that, what would you say are 3 or 4 points that define what a mentor is? Because you've done it for a little while, you've probably had a great examples. But what are 3 or 4 points you would say these 3 or 4 points are what a mentor have to be a good mentor?
3 or 4 points in which a mentor needs to have. Man, just first one, just being a real, authentic individual. I mean, not putting a mask on, or not acting or behaving as if you have no issues or no problems of your own, but just allowing that young person to see that you are an authentic, true person, man. You don't put on a facade. We have to be professional at whatever we do, but let them know that you still, despite how you appear to them, that it hasn't always been that way. You've gone through, life's obstacles and difficulties, and you've had setbacks, but you also have, things you can celebrate and appreciate about life. So being authentic, being real. And then secondly, I would say just being a concern, being compassionate and caring. A lot of times you will see the need for mentoring, like, man, why are these kids behaving this way? Possibly because they don't have any role models, possibly because there's an absentee parent. So why not see the concern and act on it in compassion, and step to the plate, and do what you can do in order to be a big brother, big sister, a mentor for that individual. You may not be able to mentor a large number of youth, but you can find somebody in your influence, whether that's a person at school, or that's a person through a Big Brothers Big Sisters organization, or some other youth serving organization, or even at your place of worship. There's always an opportunity to mentor. You just have to open your eyes. So first, being real. Second, being compassionate, having a concern. And then thirdly, man, is just being committed, being faithful to that young person. Once you've decided to be a part of that person, you got to be faithful to your decision to be a part of that individual's life, man. Don't just be there so you can put a highlight on your social media reel. But honestly, you don't have to highlight everything that you do for this individual on social media, but it's just that time that you spend, that time, that talk, and that affirming touch that you'll use during your time with this person, man. Just encouraging them through your words, giving that affirmation, a pat on the shoulder, like, yo, great job on, making all A's. Great job walking away from that peer pressure that I saw you. And then, just having the time, man. I mean, that's what a lot of people, we all understand and realize that time is the most important investment, man. But when we see that time into a young person, man, we never know how it could change their trajectory, man. So just being real, caring, and just faithful and committed to these young people, man, I think would be my three. And those are the three that have helped me along the way, man.
And that's brilliant, man. And the thing about it is once you exercise the genuineness, the commitment, what it does, in my opinion, is it opens your eyes to just seeing more than what's there. And so to the international space, in a moment now, you're preparing yourself to do some international work. And I want you to kind of talk about like the role of doing mission work in the world, and to share some of the places you highlights of the places, and maybe what you anticipate for the next one coming up. Now I ask these again, but just sort of what's your original sort of goal to say, hey, I want to go do international work in a mission? How did
how did I become interested in mission work and just working with youth wherever I go? Again, I believe Manny's story was very influential on my decision. My faith about the Great Commission and you're just helping, that has been a reason for my travel. My historical studies of just pre-colonialism in Africa and in South America and the Caribbean. That's definitely one of the reasons I wanted to see the world and to travel. I remember Professor Flint, man, she said, you don't just need to read about this stuff. You need to go out and actually see it. I don't know if you remember Miss Karen Flint. Forgive the fire.
I do.
The fire truck or ambulance noise, man. But her words of saying that was definitely just pricking to me to go out and see for myself. But over the years, man, I've done 2 trips to Africa, Senegal, Cape Town. I'll be going 3rd time to Uganda in a few weeks. 2 trips to Haiti. The first one was in 2010, right after the earthquake. January was the massive 7.2 earthquake. And then we went in March or April of 2010, a large group from Alpharetta, Atlanta, Georgia. And then had such a great time, man. I told friends about it. And then a few of my friends from Charlotte, we all went back. I think 4 or 5 of my friends, we went back in 2011. But again, man, and then my last trip, 2017, was all rural community outside of Lima, maybe like 2 hours or hour east, San Derogacho, where we just were able to love on single moms and their children. And machismo, is that what it's called? Machismo, this idea of where males are abusive and they want to, I guess, show their authority over women. That's highly rampant.
Yeah, machismo.
South America, and especially where we were at, Peru. So a lot of times there's a lot of that domestic abuse going on. We were able to, just love on these moms and their children. This place is called Pat's Place, where they're able to help moms get a trade or training in some type of a skill to earn monies for themselves and their family, and at the same time put their children in and through school to get their formal education.
So, the 2 of the couple of trips that you've mentioned, what would you say is sort of a standout part of? Let's go with Peru first, because obviously there's a language thing there, where most Americans speak a little or no Spanish, and in Peru they speak Spanish. So, do you speak Spanish?
I speak little to no Spanish, man. What's that? None.
So how would you how did that mission go? Because I think it's similar to what you mentioned about sort of dealing with adjudicated youth. Is there's a trust factor that needs to be there, and language is huge. So how do you think you were able to be successful in your trip there?
I know the basics. I know how to ask your name. ¿Cómo te llamas? Me llamo Dante. And let's that's it. Or I know how to say where you're from, and of course the greetings. And they would love to hear that. But I believe our interpreters, our hosts, they were able to speak English, and they were able to communicate for us. We would have an interpreter that would go along aside of throughout the day, and they were able to interpret for us. But Man, I'm telling you, man, this language of love, though, man, is love and compassion, man. That language, it just trumps whether I understand what you're saying or you understand what I'm saying when I'm coming from a place of love and respect and treating you with respect and dignity as an individual, as my brother and sister. I believe, that breaks down the barriers, man. Like the little kids would just come, we'll just play with them, play kickball, play soccer, football, jump rope, and, just dance. And I think that language of love, man, it definitely breaks down the barriers and breaks down the walls and allows people to trust you. So that's what I do on a regular daily basis, man. Try to break down the walls of mistrust and distrust by showing people love, man. Whether that's folks who understand what I'm saying or folks who we have that language barrier, but and just being polite, man. Just honoring the cultural norms that they operate by, and just being mindful and respectful of that, and man, just
Well,
operating in that compassion and love, man.
and it shows that you literally just ticked off all three sort of your criteria of being a mentor. Just being in Peru and saying language is sort of irrelevant because I have a language that everyone understands. So my going to South Africa, because South Africa has an interesting history. I mean, obviously you have the apartheid thing there, you have the Nelson Mandela thing. So how did that go? Because they speak English there, so it shouldn't have been difficult to communicate. But there's a historic backdrop that exists there. So how did your time in sort of South Africa go and communicating with the people there?
Yeah, man, and being a historian myself, very aware of the history of apartheid, and knowing that, man, just going with that in the back of my mind. But again, they already had pre-established relationships with the folks who were hosting us there, so that trust had already been built, or the foundation had already been laid. Going there and then just meeting, I remember the host family we stayed with was a pastor, his wife, and two of their kids, and their kids were maybe 6 years younger than me at the time, so they were still. I was 23. They were in their late teens, 18, 19. So it was pretty easy to communicate with them, man, because they either saw things on the media or heard things in the music, and it was just, I remember sitting in their bedrooms and we were just having a conversation about what they asked us what was it like in the States, and then we were just asking, hey man, what does this mean, or what does your word for movie, or what was your, they had something called piracy, so bootleg. I was like, in the States, when you someone sells a stolen product or a movie or CD music, that's called bootleg. And then they were like, oh, we have something similar here, that's called piracy, when someone records something and sells it sells it for a profit. It was just dialoguing, man, and learning and asking questions. If you didn't know something, just ask and listen, because I'm new to the culture. I want to learn and embrace everything that I was experiencing, and just sit, learn, ask questions, and then observe for yourself, where you could see like the remnants of apartheid, where you could see the different communities, how things have been, the settlements have been specifically designed to keep certain communities away from one another. Just to see that and live in color was awesome. To see, Robbins Island with Nelson Mandela was in prison, that was great. To embrace, everything that Cape Town had to offer, man, from the beautiful mountaintops to the beaches to the people, to the cuisine. It was just wonderful, man. Just being able to ask. In fact, that was the first time in April 2008, but went back as a chaperone for the Youth Ambassador Program in November 2008. And that was the highlight, man, because that's when President Barack Obama was elected, man. And I remember we found out that he won the election after it happened, after it happened. I don't remember, but I remember the respect that we were receiving because of that was world history right there, man. It was like I have a photo of me standing downtown with the paper saying Barack Obama was elected. And everywhere we went during that time, you're American. Congratulations on your president. Congratulations. It was just like, oh my goodness. It was amazing, man. That response that the world acknowledged United States for what had happened. It was just classic, dude. It was epic.
And I could just imagine what it would be like to sort of experience that sort of internationally. So what I want to do now is kind of sort of bring it back to the United States, because I've seen that you've done sort of domestic mission work as well, where you've gone to other states. So what has it been like to sort of do domestic mission work in your own country? Because you have your specific area where you live, but in other places, like what kind of other places did you go to, and what kind of things were you able to help the people out with?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the at home missions is, whether that is urban missions, just helping with serve those who are homeless, passing out care packages, passing out beverages and food, passing out resource kits to let folks know about the resources that they can pursue, whether that be substance abuse, housing, medical, just giving information to people to make a decision. Other mission trips have been in response to some type of national or natural disaster, i.e. Hurricanes. And that's, just going to love on people out on the coast of Carolinas to just be there, provide them with dry food, canned goods, water, bottles of water, clothing. And then again, just loving on people, man. Just letting them know that people who do not know you care about you, and we want to stand with you in your time of need. And that's kind of like everywhere, man. Like I remember that's what triggered me to go to Haiti, man. It was like you see all this the craziness happening on CNN and Anderson Cooper and what he was dealing with, and he was like, man, I got to do something. And that's the same response that I normally get when I watch the news after some type of natural disaster. Man, I just want to go and be hands and feet on the ground and just to do my part and do what I can, because I know it may be small and minuscule to what other people may see, but I feel a certain person, a certain group of people, when I'm at the place that needs care and rescue during the natural disaster time, man. So that's pretty it for the States, man. Just in response to natural disasters, crisis, and then just helping out in the city, just doing, like, we call it street ministry, or just going out and loving on people who are oftentimes overlooked, man. And a lot of times people look down upon, man. But we want to let folks know that they were made in His image, and they should be treated with dignity and respect as well, regardless of your socioeconomic status, or your race, or your belief, or your how you look, or how you smell. Man, you're a human being, man. You need to be treated with compassion.
I absolutely support that. And so with that, you mentioned some things that may be challenges for people. What are some of the challenges you have overcome in your journey as a mentor?
Yeah, challenges, man. It's just Challenges, man, is just being vulnerable with people, being being able to share your story of defeat and setbacks, and then showing people your scars, so to speak. Um, my one of my challenges, like today, man, is that time factor. Like, it seems like I don't have enough time, but I feel like uh, investing in the lives of the youth is a well worth investment. So it's a fine balance with the timepiece. Back in 2012 and after that, before that, man, it was just me. I'm a single guy, I can do whatever, whenever I want. But when you throw in wife and a son, then you have to kind of like switch gears a bit, but also try to keep a balance and keep perspective, and know that the calling is mentorship and youth development at the same time, being a husband and father. And just my wife respects that about me, and she honors it, so she's definitely supportive of it. I believe my son Landon, when he gets older and he understands what I do and what I've done in the past, I believe he'll be supportive, and also it would probably help him in his journey as well to figure out what he is supposed to do. But I think it will help him. But that time piece, in my previous, just being vulnerable, just acting like I had it all together. I don't got it all together. And it's okay to let people know that, and let people know that you're still struggling, or you're still dealing with your scruples or your challenges as well. Because everybody's going through a battle. Like, I oftentimes, or I've heard it says, you're either going into a battle, or you're in the midst of it, or you're coming out. So everyone is going through that. Everyone's going through something. So I definitely always remind myself that, man, you never know what an individual person is going through. And then just like physically, man, like back in 2012, I ruptured my Achilles, man. I was defeated, man, playing basketball. But that was just a reminder for me that that injury, it's an injury that has taken down some of the big names, man. Kobe Bryant and someone else tore their Achilles, KD. But just me being a regular old dude, man, that the injury itself, it was humbling. Where you're not able to walk for like 9 months to 12, and I had to depend on people. I had to depend on my then girlfriend, fiance. You had to ask for help when you needed it. You had to depend on the expertise of the doctors to correct or to tie the tendon back together so that you could eventually walk. You had to trust your therapist to help you figure out how to retrain that tendon so you could move it again. But that season was just a season of just learning how to rely on people, and to learn how to trust. So I always like to use that example with the young men that I work with who enjoy playing sports. That sometimes you may have a season where something happens, and you have to rely on the expertise and the kindness of other people to get you through your season of challenge, to get you back on your feet.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I was reading some stuff, and I came across the quote that you shared, and it sounds like something you probably live by. It's a quote by Frederick Douglass that says, "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And I feel like with you being a father and a husband and understanding the role of women in the lives of youth, that this is something you embody. So, well, in what ways do you feel like you're helping build up the strong children so they don't become broken men?
Absolutely, man. That's big, man. Building strong children is easier than repairing broken men. Um, Man, from my experience, um, I've seen 18 to 24, 18 to 26, who they are in manhood, because perhaps as a young child they were not nurtured or um, poured into or invested into from the individuals who were supposed to be a part of their lives, man, whether that be the dad or primarily the father's dad or whoever that surrogate male figure was for them. It wasn't present, and you have the brokenness of inside of that young person that they weren't of value or they weren't of importance. I hear that a lot with the young men that I've encountered that are involved with the criminal justice system, is that they felt like they had no value because their dad did not value them with support, time, correcting them when they needed it. We have to. It is a African quote that we said we have to bend the branch while it's green. A lot of the key formative years in young people's lives are that the adolescence, that 7 to 12 years old, and then of course the teen years. Those are the years that character is being built. Those are the years where critical thinking is being developed. Those are the years where peers have the most influence on them, and it is of the utmost importance that the adults that are in that child's life are pouring into them, so that when they do become of age as men and women, they won't feel that vacuum inside of them or that hole that hasn't been filled with the confidence from adults that they trust and they know that love them. Make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. It was leading me to my next question because I mean, obviously you are a man, but you mentioned your wife a couple of times. In general, what do you think, or would you say is the most significant role of women in sort of the mentoring of a man? Because it's important for their development.
Absolutely, man. And I look back at my childhood, man. My mom was she was powerful in my growth and development. Me and my dad's relationship was decent. Could have been better. He was there, present for everyone, provider, protector. But I could have done better. Yes. Mom Dukes, man, very encouraging, very present, and just as far as she esteemed us to pursue our education and then have a relation with God. That was vital for me. Like even today, those were the keys that I believe helped me in my journey, my pursuit of education, and know that hey, at the end of the day, there's a God that cares and loves for you. I remember saying that. Women are very important, man. I'm thinking with my wife Latoya raising a young boy. A lot of people say that single moms are not able to raise a young man by themselves. They can, but it's definitely will be challenging. That's why it's important that they create a village around that young boy or that young girl with the necessary pieces that could help feel the not even feel, but help mirror some of the things that mom is not able to provide for that child. So women are they teach us compassion and care, man. I remember Mom Dukes. I think the compassion piece came from my mom's by just visiting nursing homes. I remember like Wednesday evenings, I would go quite often with my mom to nursing home and just make rounds to elderly people who didn't get visitors, man. That's the crazy thing, man. When you get old, like nobody want to visit you. Family members put you in the nursing home and they forget about you. But I remember my mom just visiting them, talking to them, praying for them, and just caring about them. So women, they teach young folks how to care and show compassion. Cause some of the practical things, man. I know men cook and can we can do whatever, same thing women do. But my mom Dukes, she taught me how to cook, taught me how to organize, taught me how to sew buttons, sew back onto my shirt. A lot of the things that may not have been accustomed to learning, but I've learned those things from my mom. I even learned how to do like some stuff on from vegetation farming, canning vegetables, shelling corn, um, snapping peas, all that good stuff, man. I can do it all, man. Bake, cook, and all that came from the love of and education of my mom. And I believe women are even today are just as important, man, to the lives of young people. Um, Whatever they've learned from their upbringing, from their parents, grandparents, man, they can share that knowledge capital with not just their biological children, but those kids who are in need, those teens who are in need of, guidance and mentorship.
Absolutely. And so I have three more questions for you. And so this first one is, where do you see the future of mentoring going? Because it's been obviously an evolving thing, and you're doing a lot of things, but where do you see the future of mentoring going?
Where do I see the future of mentoring going, man? It's more vital than ever. I mean, it has been in place since the Bible days, man, with Paul and Timothy, man. I believe it's good for everyone to continue to have a mentor, be a mentor. Through college, man, my mentors were Dr. Hancock and his Stephen Hancock from UNC Charlotte, and this guy named Isaac J. Moore. They were 10 plus years older than me, so they were able to serve as that example of where I wanted my life to be in the 10 years to come. And at the same time, I was mentoring the middle school students, or I was mentoring the kids that were at Stonewall. It's going to be vital, man, whether it's your personal mentoring or whether it's your professional mentoring. I feel like you can find someone that can play both roles. But if you need someone in your personal space to help you with, the personal matters of life, as far as like, marriage, mortgage, finance, or just whatever that may be for you to help you out, find a mentor, whether it's in the professional space. You admire folks who are doing things in the industry. I admire a lot of people here in Charlotte but it's a couple of people I consider my professional mentors, man. Dr. Keith Cradle, our friend, Mr. Mike Duvall, man. I view those gentlemen as my professional mentors, man, and I'm able to sit down with those gents every now and then over a coffee or a lunch, and just to pick their brains, man, to find out, what's next, man? Is there anything that they see about me that I need to sprucing up on? Or it was one time in particular where in my career, man, it was like a crossroads, man, and I me with that guidance to pick my next move, to have him in my corner to navigate that season. But the future of mentoring, man, it's not going anywhere, man. I mean, it's vital for people to understand that mentorship can save you save you from a heck of trouble, man. Like, if you want to learn how to avoid the pitfalls in life, why not learn from someone else who has a couple of years on you, so you won't make the same mistakes, so you can avoid whatever snares they may be. Dude, mentoring, man. I believe I will continue to be one. I'll encourage the teens who I quote unquote informally mentor to reach back and help the people who are behind them, as well as latch on people who are ahead of them, just to continue it on, man. No one has become the person they are today or presently because they did it by themselves. Someone had a
Absolutely.
hand, a role, a part in that person's life. So, man, mentoring is so significant to me, man, especially in this stage of life.
And so it actually helps me with channeling to the next to the
I
last
love your
question is
segues, man,
you
by the
are
way.
yeah, you are going to Uganda, and so I'll let you tell the date. But you're going to Uganda. What have you done to mentally prepare yourself? What's the mission of the trip? And what extra things outside of the mission do you hope to accomplish while you're there?
So yes, I'll be heading to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, East Africa, EA, and August 23rd, 2 weeks from now. And I'm going with a great group from Freedom House Church, Charlotte, North Carolina, 8 of us, 4 men, 4 women. I'm excited, man. We're going to, just serve and minister to people. We'll be connecting with a ministry called Res Ministry. So we'll be doing a few church service. We'll be doing some what we call street witnessing. We'll be engaging young men on the court. That's right. We're playing a little basketball, a little football, and I think they said a little some racing too. So I'm make sure I'm bringing my racing shoes. But we're gonna love on the people, man. Care for them, learn from them as well, man. And I know our host. We had a conference call, video conference call last Sunday, and she made us aware that the men there, they need help. Again, fatherlessness is everywhere, man. Said a lot of the men there experience, hopelessness because there's no male like mentoring or their relationship with their fathers are not the best, and they need help. They need help with what it is to be a man. So myself and the 3 other guys, we're looking to do like a men's night or a panel to, just encourage the hearts and minds of those young gentlemen there, and you'll just answer questions and just be a role model and a light, a fresh wind of hope and joy for the people. We've built like care packages, toiletries, gently used clothes, kids' clothes, toddler clothes, and then of course I like to bring clothes and then just leave them with someone that I may feel led to that they could use them, man. So, dude, go on, man. Just be joy, man, and be love and compassion for the people, man, and just learn as well.
Awesome. So here's the final question for that, because you kind of led to that. Because the work that you do is nonprofit work. It doesn't generate any revenue. It's always a need for someone to help and understand that if you have one hand washes the other and we help the world. How does someone listening contact you and possibly help you?
Absolutely, man. Again, the nonprofit space, man, is again, it's no profit. It's for the greater good, to a certain degree. I mean, you get to a certain level, you may make a large X dollar amount of money, but for the most part, man, it's you're receiving what you are paid for, but i.e., when it comes to missions, folks who believe in the vision, they believe in the cause, those are the sponsors, man. They will support the vision. And a lot of times those people who support the vision, they don't even know it, but it's planting a seed in their lives for missions to let them know that, oh, this is occurring across the global space. And perhaps there may be a day where they would want to go on a missions trip to a certain part of the world. I believe where there's a vision, provision follows behind that. So wherever, whether it's the mentoring our brother's vision, building our brothers up to be strong, caring, reliable citizens, folks will get behind that, and financially, time-wise, or through whatever resources, whether that's buildings, space, technology, people will support. if you have a vision. If people want to get in contact with me, they can follow me on Instagram, Kennard, Kenard, LaDonte, LaDonte, or you can friend me on Facebook, LaDonte K. Lee, or if you want to email me, you can email me at my first name, LaDonte, LaDonte .lee13 at gmail.com. And, you know, just shoot me an email, man. I love to learn from folks across the globe, man. Like my man Lou, you in Colombia, South America. And I can't wait to come down there to visit you, man. But just learning from people, man, with diverse perspectives, man. It allows my mind to be stretched. And it's an old saying that a mind stretched can never return back to its original state. So I'm encouraged and challenged to learn from people, man, and find out what's happening in other cities in the United States, what's happening in Europe, South America, Africa, Asia. So if you're hearing this podcast, man, definitely reach out. Let's contact. And even on LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn as well. Just look me up, LaDonte K. Lee. And I love to get connected and just let's talk.
That's beautiful. Hey, so hey, we will talk offline, and I will try to find a way to get you down here, and we will welcome you, me and the people I know, very warmly. So I love for all the guests who take their time to talk with me to have the final word, because it's about their voice. So if you have anything you want to leave the people with, ideology, quote, or anything just that you want to put out there into the world, I will leave this space to you, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, Lou, man, thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate the opportunity. For those watching me on my Instagram page, man, Lou is my old classmate from UNC Charlotte, man. We're both historian buffs. He's educated down in Colombia, South America, doing wonderful things with the youth there. But I just want to leave a quote by David Stoddard. I received this little plaque from a young guy from my team program. He considers me his mentor. But it says, the heart of mentoring is getting the most out of life isn't about how much you keep for yourself, but how much you pour into others. So again, that's what it's about. It's about pouring into the next generation. It's pouring into teens, pouring into the youth of your city, of your town, in your home, in your personal area of influence. That's an enriching life, man. And I look back on my 12 years, man. These years have been very fulfilling, man, to fulfill the call that I believe God has placed on my life to, you know, be a mentor. So I encourage you, wherever you're at, wherever you listen, to be a mentor for a young person in your life, in your community. You will make, who knows, you can make generational impact and change for that young person. Thank you. Take care. Follow me on all social media outlets, LaDonte K. Lee. I appreciate you for listening. And thank you, Lou.
Thank you, sir, man. We will talk.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Take it easy.